daily drive either of my Terminator Cobras. I do enjoy taking them out on nice days. I think it's very enjoyable that way because every time I drive the car, it's for a fun reason. Now, I do enjoy daily driving the Mach 1 because I get a lot of enjoyment out of that, and it's a car that I don't mind putting as many miles on. I have to put miles on something, and so I enjoy doing that. But I have been enjoying this red Terminator and taking it out every once in a while and running some errands, going to the store with it if I need to grab something, or just going for a nice drive with my brother or my friends. But there was something that the Cobra has been doing that's been bothering me, and it's only done it a few times, but on startup sometimes I'd turn the key and I'd get the dots across the odometer. And when you get the dots across the odometer, a lot of times it's because there's a cylinder plug that's underneath the battery tray that gets knocked loose or unplugged. It really means that the ECU or the PCM isn't grounded right, and that plug underneath the battery tray is where the ground plugs in. So sometimes you can find that plug is undone slightly because you've changed a battery or something, which I have done as well. But in this case, that was not the problem. I looked underneath, everything was plugged in right, and it was bothering me that sometimes it would do it, but it seemed like it was only on a cold start every once in a while. So to me, that meant that when the voltage was a little low on the battery, or the electrical system didn't have a lot going through it, that it was having the problem, because it would be fine for the rest of the time I drove the car. I'd drive it around town, I'd stop and go a whole bunch of different places, and every time I got in after that, it was fine and it wouldn't do it. But if the car sat for a while, it would do it again with kind of a colder start, cold battery, low voltage situation. And so I was really wondering what that was, and I thought about the PCM having some kind of an issue. But the funny thing is, if I would get the dots or the flashing theft light, which was the other thing that the car would do once in a while, when it would do that, it would get the dots and then the theft light would flash, and I'd shut the car off, and then I'd start the car again, and then it was fine. And so the funny thing about that is, when the theft light was blinking, usually it would not let the car run if it was a normal situation, but in this case I have a return fuel system. So my fuel system is kind of like a standalone. It has the FC2 controller from 4 Innovations. So the funny part about that is the computer was telling the car to shut off and blinking the theft light because it wasn't getting enough voltage to the computer, which I think is also tied into the PAT system, the passive anti-theft system. But the funny thing is, since it has its own fuel system, the car kept running fine because it's key on, it has power, and the computer wasn't telling anything else to stop working. It was just telling the fuel pumps to stop working. I think that's the way it works. So the car still ran, and it really didn't do anything, but I'd shut the car off and I'd shut it back on, and then it was fine, and the odometer would light back up, and I'd have my mileage there and everything. And so I really wanted to get down to it, and so I was talking to my friend who has the Sonic Blue Terminator, and he was a Ford Master Tech mechanic, and he's really good at those kind of things, and he said to come over and look through some stuff he has. He had a complete wiring diagram for the 2003 Mustang, which includes the Cobra, and I thought that was a pretty cool thing to look through, and he was showing me how to read all those things. Electrical isn't my strong point, and I've learned a lot through him. So here's an example of the car running with the theft light blinking. So again, I was able to shut the car off, shut it back on, theft light went away, everything went away, and I went to my friend's house here, and this is the manual he gave me, and he said, try this out, look through it. I thought it was pretty cool. This is an example of what's inside the manual. This is the Mach 1000 audio system, and my brother was installing this in his Terminator Cobra, and so I showed him the picture of how cool this is with all the detailed drawings, and it shows little numbers and references and everything. So this is a really good book to have. It even shows the color of the wires and tells you where they go and everything. So just really cool to have something like this, and so detailed with cool pictures to look through, like this part here with the Mustang wiring harness that shows all the different body harnesses and all the wires that you would ever need to know where they go and what the colors are and everything. So it was really cool for him to lend me that and look around. And I did look at where the grounds for the computer were, and the actual ground is up by the battery on the front frame of the car. There's a little green bolt there. There's two different ones, and one of them's for the ECU. And so I think the problem was I had used that ground as well to have the ground for my return fuel system, and so I needed extra grounds for different things that I had done to the car. One of those things was the alternator's external voltage regulator, and I did use the same ground that the PCM was on. So I decided to go ahead and just let that ground be what it was all by itself, and I moved the ground to the other bolt there, and that solved the problem. So far I haven't had any issues with it ever doing that again. And like my friend said, if the computer's not getting the right ground or the right power to it, then it could be doing that, and I think that solved the issue. So then I just enjoyed the car, and I let my brother drive it just so that I could hear it from the outside. Sometimes you really have to do that. You enjoy your car so much, but you're always inside it, and I think a lot of people get to see how nice it is from the outside, but you don't really even get to see your own car from the outside very much. So that's why I wanted him to drive it around a little bit. So we enjoyed that for a minute, and then we went for a nice little night drive to a parking garage nearby where we like to go, and just enjoyed driving around town and having fun in the cars. We'll take his car sometimes, and then we'll take mine, and that way we both get to enjoy them together and talk while we go. We stopped and looked at this supercharged GT350. It has a Pro Charger on it. They cannot sell that car. It's been sitting there for so long. They're asking 72. It only has 3,000 miles on it. It's a really nice car, but I think a lot of people are afraid. I think the warranty is probably void on it now because of that supercharger, but it should still be a good, reliable car as long as it was tuned right, because those 2019 and 2020 GT350s have the GT500 head bolts and everything, and they advertise that they can hold 12 pounds of boost or so reliably, so that's pretty cool. So enjoying the Cobra, out looking around, and I noticed that my neighbor had a GT in the garage. It has some front end damage, and we'll get to it later. I might make a video about it, but it's pretty cool to talk to him and made a new friend. There's some really nice new paved roads around here, and some places I like to go and just park. There's nothing out here, and I can just sit there in camp chairs, take the kids and hang out, drink a soda, have some cookies or something, and just enjoy being out with the car. Sometimes a long drive isn't as enjoyable to me as going out and being somewhere where I can sit and look at the car and just enjoy walking around and being outside, especially on a nice warm day. I mean, it's still in the 70s, 60s sometimes around here, so it's pretty nice outside, and I want to enjoy these days before it gets too hot. So it's just kind of enjoying the Cobra, looking at it and being out with the car and having some fun. It was just so nice outside, and I love when the road has that shine on it and you're driving around. It's just the perfect time of year to be out enjoying new roads. So I went out and got lunch, and then I noticed there was a nice big parking lot over here that I wanted to park in and walk around the car and just experience it and just enjoy being out with the car. It's always in the garage, and so I only see it in a certain way every time I walk past it or every time I go into the garage to get a tool, which is nice. I enjoy having that eye candy of a garage with cool cars in it, but you don't get to experience it like you do when you take it out and you walk around and you give it some space and you see it from a distance. And I had walked all around the car and looked at it, and these videos and pictures never do the car justice. It looks so cool in person, and I really enjoy being around it. So I try to capture it with the video and pictures the best that I can, but there's nothing like being out and enjoying the car and being out in the nice area and a nice day. So you can see I got a little far away from it here and just enjoyed seeing it and walking up to it and reminiscing of how it was when there was a red one just like this, brand new. It wasn't a 10th anniversary, but it was an '03, and it had the chrome wheels and it was torch red, and it was in this neighborhood, and I remember seeing it. So I try to walk up to this car and pretend like, what would I have done if this was back in '03 when I saw that car brand new, and now I have the keys to it and it's my car and it's like it's brand new. Because to me, I've made that dream come true. That was something back then I could never have had, and I didn't have back then, but now I've worked really hard and I have this car now. So I'm very excited to take it places and experience the car and be out with it. So that's the update for the Torch Red 10th Anniversary Terminator Cobra. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.